Good evening, everyone. Hi, Isabel. How are you?
I'm good. Excited for this one.
Yeah. Yes. Hi, everyone watching at home. So we're live on the floor, Facebook and YouTube. So wherever you are, come say hi. Isabel is from I Like Networking. And if you don't know about I Like Networking, then this is going to be a real treat because we connected over Instagram, didn't we?
Yes.
And as soon as
Because online networking is all the rave right now.
Yeah, true. Very in spirit with what we're talking about today. So yeah, I connected with you and I was like, we need to do an event straight away. We need to be involved. So we have something really fun coming your way. Everyone get involved in the comments wherever you are, and we're going to feed that back. This is part of our April series of events, which is all about community and connection and networking. And yeah, today is going to be a presentation hosted by you. And then I'm going to come on and ask you some questions and ask questions from the comments. So that's why you need to get involved, gang. So yeah, it's all about how to find your community. And yeah, should I leave you with it?
Yeah, let's go. Let me share my screen.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, everyone. As Abby said, I'm Isabel, and I'm the founder of I Like Networking, which is a mentoring, networking, and career development platform, especially focused on women and non-binary people to support them to get into the creative industries or to progress in the creative industry with the aim of doing a little bit of a dent on the really terrible stats that we see in terms of diversity and inclusion in that sector. However, what we're going to discuss here, it's kind of applicable to almost every sector out there. I've done a version of this presentation for the New York Times, for like people who work in tech, so it really depends. But at I Like Networking, what we do is we have a mentoring scheme every year. Applications for our second scheme just closed, and it's a free program. It's embedded with networking in it. We have a really great podcast. We have a bunch of online events as well. At the moment online, but we'll have some in real life ones as well. We have a really great membership scheme for those who want more consistent support in the industry. And it's a huge platform. It's access to tons of jobs every day, tons of funding applications, tons of grants and other opportunities. We have a bunch of digital resources, such as this one that you can see on the screen, which is our ebook on how to build a career in the creative industries. We have advice from, Zoe Whiteley, who was one of the curators for the Venice Biennale. We have tons of amazing women giving their advice, and also resources on like where do you find jobs, where do you get training, all sorts of things. And then we also work with companies with job ads, brand partnerships, and developing career development programs for them. So this is all that we do. If you want to find out more about us, you can follow us on I Like Networking on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and we also have a website where you can see all of those things. And as of today, we're also hiring someone via the Kickstart scheme. So if you're there and you apply, please apply or send it to someone if you think they'd like to work with us. And it's a paid opportunity. So that's it. That's all the brief intro.
Incredible. Isabel, before you go on, we can only see a black screen rather than your presentation.
Let me see. It said stop sharing. Let me share it. Share screen.
That was a great rundown of everything you do. And I saw that post today about you hiring someone. That's really awesome.
Oh my God. Now I see me twice. Do you see this?
We just see a black screen. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm doing what we did on the practice run. Sorry, guys.
No, don't worry. Take your time.
But I really don't know, because the only option is to go to window, right?
Or should possibly.
Let me try a different situation.
Yeah. Is it on PowerPoint?
It was on a PDF, yeah. But it's also, I'm going to try to put it online to see if that's better.
Yeah, it can accept Google Slides as well and stuff like that.
Let me see. Weird, because it worked on a first attempt, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
All good.
let's see. Okay, so that's one. Share screen, window, Chrome tab. Whoops.
Yes.
Can you see this? You're seeing my whole Canva. Sorry about that.
I love Canva. It's the best.
This is how I do it, guys. I'm very bad at it. Can't do
This is
presentations.
behind the scenes.
Can you see?
Yeah, so we can see, you know, that it says edit and make a copy.
What? I don't know what's going on. That's not where I am right now.
Maybe it froze.
Oh, God.
This is real life, people.
Yeah, let me try again. Hold on. Is it still sharing? No, he gave up on sharing.
No, it came off. Yeah, you have to click sharing again.
Okay. God. We need to ask Sam what's going on. So he gets this time.
He's in the private chat.
Okay, he's trying to fix it. All right, guys, one more time. Otherwise, we're going to do this presentation less. So then no one else has to keep looking at it. What about now?
Yes, we've got it.
Yeah, all right. This is the slide I was talking about, everyone. Can you see with the book? Okay, good. Right, Christ converted. This is us, guys. Go follow us on Island Networking, etc., etc. So today we're going to be discussing finding your community, your gang, and your people. So please pop in the chat. What is your main challenge when it comes to finding your community? I'll give you like a minute to do this. You can pop anything. And when I talk about community, you can think about it at large. It can be the people that are interested in the same things that you are, but also work-wise. Okay, so give us a little bit of a sample of what it is that you're like dealing with in terms of issues, and then Abby is gonna read some of those out for me, and we'll get to that at the end. Okay, Abby. Once they start popping, you can interrupt me at any point. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So first things first, where do we connect with people? Because that's all that there is, right? It's finding the people that make sense for you in that particular area of your life. We'll talk a lot about sort of career development here, but obviously you can apply this in different ways. So some ways that people connect is where they live, so that's location, or where they work. Passion, so if you're really passionate about, I don't know, the environment, or you love talking to anyone about everything tennis, or you just watch women's rugby, like those are passion things you're obsessed about, like you're obsessed with anything, like hobbits, great. You can also engage with people that have the same passion as you. Hobbies, so if you like dancing, if you like, doing pottery, all those things are always places where you can connect with others. Your career, obviously, it's a huge connecting point for many people. However, I'm going to say it's not the most effective. We'll talk about that soon. But yeah, if you are a producer, you can connect with other producers on that, and vice versa. Provenance, where you're from. So I'm originally from Brazil, but I have a family across the whole world. It's very confusing. I have more passports than Jason Bourne, but it's something that I can connect with people if they're from some countries that I'm also in theory from, or there's like huge communities of this or that in your own country or your own place. That's a place for, that's a connection point. And purpose, right? So social entrepreneurs, that's a connecting point. Like you can meet other social entrepreneurs that are working towards changing, the climate crisis, or who want to tackle the homeless crisis. So all people that have a similar purpose in life, this can be doing this on a volunteer basis or not, can connect on that level as well. But beyond those, there are many, many other connection points, but those tend to be some of like the most common ones, right? So when we talk about networking, we are going to be talking about connecting with others, and communicating effectively. And when we talk about finding your community, that's literally all that is. Okay. But when it comes to networking itself, everyone usually thinks about those, I think, career moments where people are like giving each other at the time, right? Like business cards, or always interested in talking to someone for like professional gain or whatever. And it can feel really cringy, and the whole idea has a bad rap, where I think that networking is just a lot more than that. It's just about connecting with others and increasing, or deepening, depending on where you're at, your network, the people you connect with. Okay, if you read what networking means in a dictionary, there's a part of it that talks about people such as your friends and family, and those are essentially your first network anyway. So really important, I like everyone to write down 3 things that help define you without talking about work. Okay. I like everyone to do that. Abby, you too. Sam, if you can hear me, you can do that as well. I'll give an example. Okay. So things that really define me when without talking about work. I have a problem, which is a book addiction. And according to my significant other, I don't read books, I destroy them, and I have no self control when it comes to getting into a bookshop and not buying something. So I always need to have a pile of books available to be read at any time, or I get anxiety. So this is something a lot of people know about me, and they make fun of me, and it's what it is. I also have a sort of unhealthy obsession with Real Housewives shows, that it's really bad for you and terrible for your brain, but it is what it is. And you will be shocked at how many, intellectuals also watch this sort of terrible television, and it's fine. It's always a conversation starter. And the third thing is that I love running, and I really like a lot of sports, but sports don't like me back. I tend to be absolutely shit at every single thing. I broke myself 100 times already, and basically don't call me to be on your team, because I will make you go down, okay? With high spirits, but I'll make you go down. So why do those things matter, right? It matters because we connect with people and not job roles. So I have never had an amazing connection with anyone that was just telling me like, oh, I am the CEO of this, and this is how we connected. I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. We need to be friends. We need to do things together. It's not. I connected with people professionally that led to amazing opportunities in a very personal level. So you'll meet people in a professional environment, such as a networking event, or you're going to email them, or you're going to send them a message on LinkedIn. But essentially what's going to make your relationship go far is all these other things that makes us who we are, and finding some of those common points, those connection points that I mentioned before, that will create some sort of communication and a connection, and help you find your gang, your people, your community. All right. And obviously you can have different communities based on all those different connection points. But I think in general, having a sense of your purpose, your whys, and your values, and things that you enjoy really will help you to create those connections in a really organic way that won't be such a huge effort for you to to continue connecting with, right? So examples of that, so you don't think I'm crazy, are I read a book by Samantha Power, who was the UN ambassador to the US during the Obama administration. It's really interesting. She gets fired, she gets hired back again, lots of things happen. And all of her mentors and the people who have been in her life for a long time in really positions of power were people that she ended up connecting because they shared a love of basketball like she did, and people that she could always connect and talk about those things in those like big events, as opposed to, she actually talks about a day that she meets someone she's really excited about, and she completely freaks this person out because instead of talking about anything else, she talks about this issue in Bosnia that she's covering. And although that's important, that was not a conversation that had elicited a lot of feedback from the other part, who didn't know anything about it or didn't know as much. So when she started like being more relaxed and talking to people about her life and her interests, that led to much more interesting connections. And we can apply that to our lives. And whenever you go to networking events, be them online or in real life, and you're panicking about that, of knowing what to do all the time and knowing what to say, remember who you are beyond your job, beyond your career goals, and that everyone else is a person who has their stories, has their quirks, just like them. And if you're interested about them and curious to find that out, you can have amazing conversations. Okay, Abby, what are the 3 things from you that we should know?
So I could only think of 2, but maybe we'll think of a third one now.
Okay.
One of them is that I really love music and like live performance. So I also love comedy and like going to comedy gigs and things like that. Second one is that I'm really personable and like I talk a lot, and I not in like I speak over people or I'm annoying, but I just love to talk and I always have. Like when I was a kid, all my teachers' reports were like, so Abby distracted the whole class today because she did the whole story time. And I feel like that is kind of, led on. My third one, I'm stuck,
It's okay. It can be like something you love to eat or you hate that everyone likes as instead of you.
Well, I genuinely love food and I love cooking, and it's been quite a recent thing. And that actually is like the thing of like, I kind of go through phases in life, which I think everyone does anyway. But I'm really into cooking at the moment. I think my main conversation with all my friends is cooking. So yeah, and I feel like I only know few people who don't like love food. So that is actually a really good conversation starter because, everyone's got to eat. So it's relatable.
Yeah, it's a really good conversation start. And you can always start talking to someone like, okay, what sort of person are you? The people who like coriander or the people who hate coriander? That's a good conversation starter right there, which is all about food. And it always leads to some heated debates.
Yes, I love coriander.
Yeah, I hate coriander. I cannot deal with that thing.
Really?
But there you go. We can have a conversation all about that.
We had someone comment on the main challenge that they're having.
Yeah.
So Lily said, my main challenge is finding people outside of my immediate circle, e.g. I am in music, and finding visual artists to shoot with, for example, is easy. But whereas when I wanted to find a poet to expand my lyrics, that was quite difficult. Circles can be quite inclusive.
Yeah, I feel you. Listen, that's why we created the LA Networking membership, to be honest, because in a bit of a background before I continue on the conversation, I've been in the creative industries as a creative producer for over 15 years. And I've worked in music, theater, dance, visual arts, the whole thing. And this is because when I started in Brazil, I had my own agency and I sold it in 2016. But it's a startup culture over there. We don't have a creative industries that we have here in the UK. It's not standard. There is no structure. So if you kind of did one thing, they just assumed you did everything. So I grew up in the industry with that mindset. And when I came to London, I was like super confused by what I felt was a lack of exchange between the sectors, behind the scenes, especially, which is to me one of the most exciting parts about the creative industries. And so the membership, it's something that we created exactly for that, for people from different branches to connect with one another. But there's other ways to do that, and we'll get to them. Promise. Okay. One more question for everyone to think about is there someone in your industry you look up to? Name 3 reasons why you look up to them, please, in the chat. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to do that. I think this is a really good clue, and I'm going to talk to you why. I admire quite a few people. One of the people that I knew of moving to London was, now I forgot her name. That's great for me. Sonia Friedman. Sorry. I was like, wait, Sophia. No, I'm really bad with names. Sonia Friedman, who is a big theater producer. I had a theater, I still in theory am the executive producer of a theater company in Brazil. But with the pandemic, there hasn't been any production. So it's just a name for now. But she was this person that I looked up to because she was this huge producer. She was a woman in the business and I didn't know many at the time. And to be honest, I don't think there are any as big as her. And she always spoke very candidly about the challenges that had, as well on the rest of her life, and how, she didn't have any BS when it comes to like management your time and expectations. So I really admired her for that. So there's lots of people that you admire. And when you start looking at those things, you kind of will have a clue about what are your values and who you're actually excited about. So I'll go see some of your answers soon. So this quick elevator pitch is one of those things that people keep saying, like, oh, if you're in someone in an elevator, you have 30 seconds to impress them. And although I don't think this works for in real life interactions, okay, it is a really good way to condense what you're going to say to people if you're reaching out to anyone online and you want to be successful and heard, okay? I met a ridiculous amount of people who became clients, collaborators, or friends on Instagram and LinkedIn especially, okay, and some on Twitter. And I made that by being authentic, talking to people, and then doing those tips that I'm going to send you. There is a massive benefit to online networking, okay? If people are on social media platforms, and I'm including LinkedIn on that, and if they have a public profile, there is sort of a tacit agreement that you are there to connect with others, right? That was the main purpose of the whole thing. And if we look at it in that way, it can still be super beneficial to us. One thing is, if you take care of how you expose your brand or your profile on those platforms, they will give you a really good snapshot of who you are, where you control the total narrative. So if you're getting in touch with someone, they will immediately kind of see what you're about, which is an amazing benefit. And I don't think you can get that anywhere else. And if you use platforms like, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, you can have images, photo, text, audio, so many things that will give someone an idea of what you're about and who you are, etc. So then when you reach out to them, they will have this portfolio of you to go back to right away, and vice versa. So when you're trying to reach out to someone specifically, this can be way more accurate and spend less time, as opposed to when you go to an in real life event, you have to talk to a bunch of people, not knowing anything about them. And it's super fun. It can be super great, but sometimes you go to a networking event in real life and you meet 0 people that will add anything to you. And with online networking, this can be a bit better and more like direct to the point. So those are the key elements to consider whenever you're crafting a message, okay? And they will be useful for you when you present yourself in other situations as well. So obviously, who are you, right? So your name and anything especially relevant to you. So that your background and context is like what in your context, in your background or your professional life is key information for that person to understand you. Then the connection with them, like why should they listen to you? Why do you want to connect? Your ask, and this is where I see most people getting swamped in it, which is what do you want to get out of this interaction in a nice way? And then how you close. So yesterday I posted on Instagram a guide of some messages on LinkedIn that really worked for lots of people. And you'll see that they kind of follow this in different ways. So for instance, this is a example that happened, okay? It was like, hey, I spoke to Jade, who is one of our collaborators and mentors, and I said, hey, Jade, nice to see you here. I have you on LinkedIn for a while, but we've crossed paths, but we never worked together. Really would like to talk to you about developing an event together for the Airline Network community. I'm the founder of this community. This is what we do. I love this aspect of your experience, and I think our audience really benefit from listening to you. Would you be interested? Shall we put a time in the calendar to discuss? Thank you so much for your time. This is where you can find all the information about me. Okay, so really, like, what matters? How do we know each other or not know each other? So why you're connecting? And if you go on my Instagram and read the other ones, you'll see they're not all from me. There's tons of examples of people asking for things, asking for advice, asking to connect, and vice versa. And the ask is not cringy because the ask is clear, it's direct to the point, and it's polite and it makes sense for that person. And as if the person reading your message immediately knows what you want from them, they can easily say yes, no, and maybe, which is what you want. Okay, if someone says no or not right now, fine, then you can move on instead of like spending hours and hours on this connection that might not lead anywhere, right? So it's a lot more efficient, but you have to be succinct. Okay, you have to be clear. And no one, and I say this with the bottom of my heart, wants to read 5 paragraphs about your life. No one cares as much in your first interaction. They want to know the snapshot. And this is why the rest of your profile is a really great way for you to connect with others. Cool. So how do you find your story? You have a start, middle, and end. I missed a typo there. Oops. But when is the start for you, right? So what are you choosing to highlight? Like, as I mentioned, I have 15 years of experience. Whenever I talk to employers, I never go like and say, well, when I was 17, I got this internship and then I served coffee at this place. Like, it doesn't matter. I say, like, I started 15 years ago. This is what I wanted to do. This is where it led me. And you have to talk a little bit about 1 or 2 big hurdles that you conquered, because those are give the interest. So you have to always think, when you're telling your story to someone, for them to think, oh, and what next? Like if you were like a little Netflix like show, right? You're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? But in a short and concise way. Everyone has an interesting story to tell. It's just about getting it right, especially to who you're talking to. So before we get to that, a good idea is for you to write some of that down and record like a 60-second video or something on your phone, not to show anyone, but to see how comfortable you are. If you feel completely uncomfortable saying it, don't write it, okay? Find the versions that work well for you, and it can be more than one, and you'll see how good it is. And like when you see yourself in a new event or in a new interaction, online or offline, you will be able to use some of that narrative to frame who you are and to start conversations in a really effective way. Hope this is clear so far. Okay, some tips and tricks. We're talking when it comes to online communities, you have to make a clear ask, personalize it. Don't write people's name wrong. Don't say very broad things. Like, try to be really specific about that person. Remember that quantity connections are a lot better than quality connections are much better than quantity connections. Okay, you want to connect with people that bring value to your network and vice versa. Now, social media, and by that I mean everything but LinkedIn in this case, LinkedIn a bit, but more, this is more for like Instagram, Twitter, etc., is be you and be visible, okay? That means that if you're looking to expand your network, so for instance, our friend who said that she's a musician, wants to connect with poets, start following accounts like the Roundhouse, who does the spoken poetry like night. Start following some people that you think are cool and are doing great things. I don't know, Caleb Femi. And then comment and see who they follow and be like, okay, this is really cool. Share people's work. Let them know. Also, tell people that what you're looking for. Hey, can someone introduce me to this person? And all of those things will help. Like, really, when you message someone and say, I really love your work, or I really love this, or whatever you're doing, it's great, people tend to be really excited about it. It's about connecting in real life. And also, if you can share useful stuff for your network, that goes a long way. Now, finding your gang, it's the most typical ways to find people that you want to connect with and to grow your network, which are joining an association. You can join a networking group like ours, like Found and Flourish. There's tons. out there depending on your needs. You can join a book club if that's what your hobby is. You can join a running club. So all of those things help to build connections and to meet new people in a structured way if that's what you prefer. And even if you're thinking, oh, I'm a musician, I love reading, but I don't want to, if I join a book club, how is that going to help? The thing is, you don't know, okay? People always know more people. So as long as you're interacting with others and being clear about who you want to meet and where you're at in your career and what you're looking for, the other people who know you, next time they meet someone, they'll be like, oh, you know what? Abby wanted to meet someone who does this, or Abby wanted to meet other coriander lovers, so I'll introduce you to her, So those things really work. Which is going to tie down to my second tip, which is the good old email. When I came to London, I knew, I think, one person here properly, and I wanted to work in the creative sector here. I didn't know anyone here. I knew one or two people that knew someone. I emailed a bunch of humans and said, hey guys, hey friends, I'm in London, need to meet new people in the art sector. Ideally, can anyone give me any leads? And I met lots of people that way. Not all good, some really good. Some became some of my best friends to this day. And I went on coffees and connected with lots of people. Even if they had 15 minutes, I would go. I asked them what they knew, who were the players, who should I know, where should I go, which place should I go, where do people go to see music. I didn't know a lot of the city, so I had to go find out. And emailing friends, there's always a friend who knows someone who knows someone. So you never know where connections will lead you, but if you don't tell people what you need, no one can help you, right? And then finally, when it comes to online events, it's always nice to connect with someone. If people leave their links or, share what they do and you can connect with them, it's nice to at least connect with one person each time and say, hey, how did you find it? Or if you connected over what you do, say hi to one another, start a conversation and see how things go. And you can always ask lots of questions to get or some questions at least to get yourself seen. If you want to connect afterwards with the speaker, this is a good way to do it, and then message them afterwards. So essentially, it all boils down to you knowing what more or less you want to get out of the situation, being interested in people, and giving yourself the chance. Because sometimes connections will take 10 years to result in something amazing. Sometimes it will just be people who bring an interesting perspective to you. And sometimes it's people that you're going to be the one supporting. And sometimes it's just an interesting conversation that won't lead to anything. But the key is that you have to start somewhere for things to develop. So one last tip here, which is if you hate all of that and you're like, no freaking way, I'm not doing that, what can you offer instead? Okay, so can you take the stage? Can you offer your services to be, to present a workshop somewhere, or to be the guest of someone's podcast? Or can you offer to, help, I don't know, if you're a designer, can you offer a small charity, a service to design their new logo, anything like that? Or like give someone 1 hour advice on how you started your career and whatever. All of those things will bring new people to you. They will also think of you as sort of like an expert in that field. They can refer you to other people, and you're giving back to your community. Ideally, it's a really nice way to meet new people, to connect with others, and to do it from a place that you probably won't feel cringy about, which is what I get a lot from people. So it's a nice way to start that if you don't want to go to the whole elevator pitch thing right away. Okay, those are the main top tips. I didn't want to do it too long because I want to have time. And Abby said that we were like around 45 minutes. So now I'm going to stop sharing. This is all of our stuff, okay? I have been really absent from Clubhouse. If anyone wants to go there and doesn't have an invite, message me and I'll give you, because I have lots. I will promise that I'll be back there. We have a eyeliner networking sort of group there as well. And we used to do lots of stuff like mentoring Mondays and everything. But with the mentoring applications, it disappeared from my life. But everywhere else we're there. And I'll promise I'll go back there at some point. So feel free to message me. But in the other platforms, I'm a lot more active. And please come and say hi and practice your elevator pitch with me. And with that said, after all our technical difficulties, can you see me again?
Yes. Can you see me?
Yes.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. I think my main takeaway points, which I think are so important and stuff that I've learned, is that, like you said, just going out and connecting with people. Like, okay, they may not be a freelancer like me, they may not be into music, but just going to an event and meeting people is just so good for you. Even if you go to an event and you just talk to one person,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to talk to everyone in the room, and you can just have like a chill, fun night out. And then most of the time, when you're not thinking about it too hard, that's when the best connections come through.
Yeah,
That really
exactly.
me.
Exactly. And I think, I think we put a lot of pressure on everything that we do in life to be really productive and have to yield results right away. And when it comes to networking, when you see it as just creating interactions and corrections with people, you need to trust that if you're being authentic, if you're showing up as yourself, which is why thinking about those three things that define you, they're really conversation starters. Like I was working at the Venice Biennale once, and I was with this group of curators and like high profile collectors. And at the end of one really, really busy day, I was like, I'm gonna go have a pizza in this like tiny, tiny restaurant that no one's gonna be because I'm exhausted. And then two of the curators were there as well. And then we all sat together. And I said, guys, I can't wait too long because I need to sleep, but I really need to watch an episode of this TV show. And they were like, what TV show? And I said, oh my God, it's going to be so embarrassing because you're both intellectuals, but I want to see the like reunion of whatever, Real Housewives. And they were like, oh my God, I never watched this, but I am actually now obsessed with Love Island, So you don't know. So we had this massive conversation, exchange content. We're super in touch. We had like a really fun night out. And like every time we meet, she's like, you're the Real Housewife girl, like it's not like a thing that's like attached, like, oh, she's not professional, So, I had so many conversations with people at work that were into running or starting to run and wanted to talk to me about it. So those things that make you who you are the things that are really interesting about you, So don't shy away from that. And if you have the same curiosity of with networking professionally that you would when you're meeting new friends, then you really can't go wrong. Some people won't be anything, but yeah, at least you can have a fun conversation or learn something new, hopefully. And you have to see where they are.
Definitely.
Now,
my friend actually, she's anthropology like student, just left, like trying to make her way in that world, and she has always binge watched like the worst TV, like Bad Girls Club, like everything that's like so bad. But she's like, that's how I switch off. And as like a person who studies people as well, it's just like it just gives her a chance to relax a bit. So yeah, I completely relate to that as well.
Yeah, and so if anyone has questions, please let me know. Who was the person who said that she wanted to meet poets? Because I know a really great one. If you want to send me a message on Instagram and LinkedIn, I will put you guys in touch.
Yeah. And we had loads of people replying what the people that they look up to.
Okay.
So Georgia said Lily Allen, she's a complete badass.
Yes.
Our tech guy behind the scenes, Sam, said Christian Henson. He's a really big composer, co-founder of one of the leading sample companies, Spitfire Audio, but has no musical education and can barely read music.
Wow.
That's cool.
I love that. So Sam, like this is for me something that you could definitely use to attract more people, wherever you are. Say if you're like on Instagram or LinkedIn, whatever, like I would definitely do a post like, I am obsessed with this person. This is why you should know him. Or, this is this stuff that people are really interested in. And that's like sharing knowledge with your community, whatever they are, will lead usually to really great connections. You never know. Maybe someone is as obsessed as you are. Maybe someone will be like, this is amazing. And then it will come back for more recommendations. We all have that friend that we ask for specific recommendations. Like, oh my God, this person always gives the best gifts. Like, where do you shop? Anything. It's always good. So when you start like putting yourself out there, when it comes to professional platforms, it's good to have like 3 sort of main content pillars that you talk about so that people know you up for that reason. And that really helps people to see you for who you are, or at least for a good part of who you are that you want to expose for that particular community, and bring more people that are aligned to you in your field. And that's why thinking about some of your interests are important. So on my Instagram, you'll see that I love doing some memes and stuff. I love that stuff. I love the internet. I think it's hilarious. So I do those and I don't care. And so it's super playful. And my LinkedIn, it's a lot heavier. I always talk about stats, diversity and inclusion, like recession, like all the stuff that needs to be that really politically engaged. It's fine. So you can find your balance and who you talk to in different places as well. I love that someone said that for her, the person is Issa Rae. I mean, who doesn't love Issa? And again, I told a bunch of friends about Insecure, and then we all connected because of that, and then they sent it to more people. So again, it's like whenever someone posts something about Issa that I don't know, if I don't know the person, I always reply as well, like, oh my god, I can't wait, whatever. So all those tiny things, they are all prone for amazing new connections. So I love that. And yeah, I think her story is so great, and you can definitely find other people that are doing similar narratives, and and then you can find out more about them as well.
Yeah, I liked Simon's answer. Can you see Simon's answer?
Where is Simon? Okay, I'm scrolling. I lost Simon. No. Simon. Anyone who dedicated their life to the art against all odds. Yeah. I mean, most of them. Most of us, I would say, who dedicate their life to the art. I think it's all like a super challenging space, and it's always really exciting to see people that won't give up. For me, one of those is Christine Sumkin. She is a deaf artist, and she does amazing work. She's going to now do something for the Manchester International Festival, and I met her 2 years ago, and I was always obsessed with her work, and she's always like been a really big activist on like being seen and heard without hearing, and now she's really exploding in the scene, and it's so exciting. Wow. And she's, for me, is a big example as well. So yeah, that's really cool. Okay, guys, I don't know if you have any questions or any comments, so I'm happy for you to tell me.
I have a question. Okay. How do you feel about working with friends? Because I know that working with friends in the past, for me and presently, is really, really good, but at the same time, it does have its cons. I was wondering how because we're talking about making a community, and a lot of your community in the creative industry specifically, well, actually maybe outside of that, comes from like your friends in uni, and then you kind of grow from there. So yeah, just your opinion would be great.
I actually work with my friends for most of my life, which is, I think when you're in the creative industries, it's very normal because you end up having the same values and the same interests as your friends. And then, like, I was a producer. A lot of my friends were artists and directors and other producers, and we worked together a lot. I actually worked with my best friend for ages in really big events, and we have never had a fight. Never. Wow. I'm still, like, as you said, like, part of this theater company, and they're 2 of my best friends as well. So we disagreed about things, but we didn't fight. Like, essentially, I think it depends what sort of relationship you have as well. But I think I've had them all. Like, I was a friend's boss for a while, then I got another friend a job. Well, I was quite a few more of my friends' bosses, and then I was a business partner, with my friends in equal standing. So I think it depends a little bit on how aligned your visions are. I think this is really essential when it comes to doing business. Like, you have to have an agreement on how do you see things progressing, and then what is the sort of decision-making process, right? So in many ways, like when I did like this, used to do work with these 2 directors, I trusted their vision completely. We disagreed about a few things, but essentially I said to them, I won't get involved in any artistic decision unless, like, in terms of like, I won't say no to an artistic decision unless it impacts on the production side heavily. And that way we avoided a lot of conflict. I could always voice my own opinions and my concerns, and we could have discussions about it. But at the end of the day, if that was their final word, that was the final word. But the production, I had the final word. So that helped. I think a lot of times your visions change after a while. So it's normal to then split up and go back again. But I think the whole, like, you can't work with your friends things, it's kind of old school. And again, it's like every other relationship, it's about transparency and communication. And, you know, like with one of my friends, like we had like this brotherly relationship, and he had a really short temper. So he would lose his temper a lot with me. And I'll be like, he's going to call me 30 seconds, pretending that nothing happened and saying how he loves me. And 30 seconds, he's like, hey. I didn't take it too hard, you know, because I knew, I was like, it's fine. Like, it's not with me. He's stressed, like, whatever. But you have to know the person. So, you know, it depends. And we had a really amazing work relationship, and I, you know, was his manager, etc. But I had to tell him what to do. So yeah, I think it's totally fine. And so many musicians are married to their managers and etc. And I think it's just part of our sector, really, and we should embrace it and do the best we can with it, you know, because all relationships, work relationships, are intimate in their own way. They all really need a lot of trust to work. So yeah, try to communicate.
I think communication is the main thing there. I worked with my partner on a project before, and then we turned up to the shoot and he was like, you didn't tell me about that, all this. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I just kind of assumed you knew because we talk about it all the time. And what I hadn't done was kind of level up. Like I just assumed that because we were like talking about things casually at home when we were eating dinner and things like that, I wasn't actually having like the actual professional conversations that I was having with everyone else on the shoot. I was like, he knows everything. He's been listening to this. We've been having conversations. And he was like, no, I actually didn't know about that. And I was like, whoa.
You can never assume people's reaction to things or what they know or don't know. So yeah, I think, obviously there are cases that it goes really wrong, but then again, it could go wrong with anyone, you know. I think it's one of those things. And this is why you do a contract. You only sign a contract. This is a big rule for anyone. You should only sign a contract with someone you trust, okay? The point of the contract is not to be broken, okay? Is to make terms clear. When you sign a contract thinking, I better have this in case it all goes to shit with this person because you have a hunch that they're not the best person for you, do not even get to the contract level, okay? Run away. This is the tip. Like, only sign a contract with people that you're thinking, this person will never break this contract. But if they do, this is how we're going to sort it out, okay? Because otherwise it is pointless, right? Like, no one wants that.
I think I might know your answer to this, but what is the best way to build an international audience that's not so like London centric for us, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot about what you're doing and what you're bringing. So if it comes to like, when it comes to events, it's definitely bringing international speakers as well and promoting it in different places, in different platforms. With Island Networking, our whole thing was always to be international, just a lot because of my background, but because I think the creative industry shouldn't have any borders. And I know so many people, like in London, how many people are foreigners that work in this industry? And in Sao Paulo, where I'm from, there's over 22 million in the city alone, 22 million people. So a lot of us are from somewhere else as well. And then our mentors, I made a point to have people from different places as well, so that we could bring a new audience and make sure that the timings that you're doing work for different time zones and things like that. You can always find different communities. So when I first started Island Networking, someone got in touch with me. There's two amazing girls, super young, creating a program called Now Media. And it knew who talk about Issa Rae. One of the mentors in their program was one of the girls from Insecure. the one who is blonde and marries a guy, Amanda something. So they were super young, like 18, 19, I think, and they got in touch and say, we're thinking about doing this program for media specifically. Do you want to have a chat about like how you're building yours? And we just had a really nice conversation. We exchanged ideas. We share each other's like posts every once in a while because I really support what they're doing. They support what I'm doing here. So they just found me on Instagram. Literally, they were searching for mentoring programs. I think they were doing some market research, and it was an amazing conversation, you know. And so it's really about that. I think it's getting into this different communities that are reaching out to that audience, talking to them, explaining, and just reaching out. And yeah, but like in practical terms, having different like speakers coming from different places, going to the communities you want to reach out to, and definitely, you know, when you're thinking about time zones and things, consider that, because that is an important aspect of the whole thing. So I think that would be it. I mean, I worked in many countries, so that happened more naturally, but I think those are ways that we built it via island networking.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you think, to put you on the spot, do you think you found your creative community? And if you have, like, how long has it taken you to get there?
Yeah, it was a big shock, to be honest, when I came to London. Like as I mentioned, I started my career in Brazil 17. And so I opened my first company in my early 20s.
Wow.
And my whole, and by total accident, my two school best friends, so people I've known since I was 4, one went to 2 events and the other one became an actor. So we worked together by accident many times, and so we ended up creating this community that were not only my best friends, but like people that did the same stuff as we did. And then I worked with this other friend from high school who was a musician. And so that became sort of my whole social life in a way. Not all of it, but a lot of it. And so when I came to, and you know, I was there, I was starting since the beginning. One of the projects I produced was a big hit from the get-go. So I got really good like reputation in the country. So I said that was a really big fish in a small pond. So I knew everyone. It was great. And then I moved to London and I knew 0 people. I had no idea what the scene was like. I didn't know the venues really well. I knew like the Barbican and the Young Vic, you know, and whatever, the National Theatre. Didn't know anything else. Didn't know who were the players. And I thought it was a lot harder because there were all these divisions that one of the people here said, like music is here and marketing is there. Where I came from a world that everything was mixed. So it took me a long time. I freelanced a lot. I reached out to people that I liked and went to a freak load of events, talked to a lot of people, tried to understand, you know, I joined a bunch of groups. I tried to understand like running club, book. I started a book club. I joined 2 running clubs, like all those things. And whenever someone told me like, you need to meet this person, I would go, you know, because you never know. And I would try to meet everyone. And that really helped, you know, and now I feel like I have a much better sense. It's not the same as it was back home because obviously those are my friends from childhood and it was just such luck that we were all doing the same thing, you know. But I feel like with Eyeline Networking, what I wanted to do is, especially the membership, is to create that. And I feel like so many people that I've met through this scheme have become like essential parts of my life in just 1 year, that I feel like we're a lot closer to creating the same spirit that I had back home. And it's just amazing because a lot of these people, I talk a lot and I've never seen them in real life. And it's really, you know, you can create so many amazing connections in that way. And obviously I really hope I can hug lots of people soon. But yeah, it did give me a lot of strength, especially in the really hard times that were last year for everyone, and still are right now. But I think having this community mean a lot, and having people in your corner that understand you can do wonders for your mental health. And at times of crisis, and let's be honest, the creative sector is almost always on a crisis or another. It's essential. So like finding your community is key for a happy moment, you know, for a happy life. Even if you're not considering getting more clients or closing more deals or getting more collaborators, it will do a lot for your well-being, right? So yeah.
100%. Yeah. I went freelance like a month before the pandemic, and I actually didn't have that many jobs set up because I was like, I'm going to quit my job and go freelance. And I had like 2 little things. So I spent those first 2.5 weeks solidly meeting every single person that I knew that was freelance, who I'd met once, met twice, didn't matter. I messaged them, let's go for coffee, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, obviously pandemic happened, crazy stuff happened. But I think everyone has had a wild year. But I just want to say, like, shout out to you and I Like Networking, because honestly, what you've built in a year is insane. Like, that is so good. You should be so proud.
Thank you, Abby. Yeah, it's amazing, and I do give myself props. But again, if there's one thing that is a total product of a collaborative spirit, is Island Networking. Because when I reached out to most of the mentors, we had no Instagram, we had no website. It was just me with an idea, telling random people like, "Hey, should we gonna do this?" And it's been like the mentors are so involved, and the former mentees are so involved, and it's just been like the community. There's a big part of the creative community that wants to change the sector for the better, and they want, like, I received applications that were like, if it's between me and someone from an underprivileged background or from an underrepresented community, I want to give my space up and all those things. And we have a pay it forward scheme to everything that we do. And it's been amazing to see that there are so many people that are like that believe in bringing people up together as opposed to like getting each other out of the way. So thank you for that. But really is a props to everyone who got involved in any way. Like, I think it's a really nice and safe space, and I hope it continues to be like that throughout. So it's the dream. I know trolls happen, but so far so good.
Until you log off this and they're all there.
I'm joking. They'll be like, ah, yeah, no. And if they do, whatever,
Yeah.
Like, I once got, this is the last story for everyone. So I got hate mail from some people. I used to work with one band, and there was a lot of boys, young boys, and for some reason, because I was the manager, they assumed that I was hooking up with all of them. They were 5 guys. What would I do with my life if I had to hook up with 5 guys at once? Imagine.
No time for anything else.
No, I wouldn't have time. But they assumed that all of them assumed that I was hooking up with one particular one, but they all had their own crushes. So I started receiving all this hate mail, and I was like, how am I going to explain to them? Like, there is a difference. Like, you can work with people and not sleep with them. Those are different things. But yeah, it was a massive thing. I had to shut down my Facebook. I was like, whoa, okay, I don't want to deal with this. And then there was a fight between two groups of fans, the fans that hated me and the fans who loved me. And
oh my God.
Hell. So I feel like I'm equipped to deal with the trolls, because at least they're not in real life. And for anyone who can't see me, I'm very short. So these girls wanted to kick my ass, and I'd be like, please don't. I will definitely lose. I don't want to fight no one. Like, I've never wanted to fight any person, because this is not a fight I'm going to win. Like, it's not for me. Like, you can have everyone. You can have my whole family. You can kiss everyone,
Yeah, luckily it's mainly keyboard warriors and stuff like that, isn't it? And let's face it, if anybody went on to like I Like Networking's page and then started to troll you, I'd literally be questionable, because you are literally putting out positivity, opportunities, like everything that's good. Like, to find something wrong with that is just completely bizarre.
I mean, you gotta take people less seriously, right? But yeah, thanks for that, Abby. I appreciate it, and I appreciate your invitation to bring me to the floor. And I'm really excited about your mission and how you're making things better for creatives and creators. So I'm excited to see what's next.
Yes, absolutely. And hopefully we can collaborate again in the future.
For sure. And yeah, everyone, thanks so much for having me. I hope this was useful. If you have more questions, message me. We also have a 7-day networking guide challenge for everyone to reach out to 10 people and expand their network on our Instagram. So you can get that if you need some homework to do. But super fun. But yeah, thanks so much for having me, Abby. And apologies for the technical difficulties, but we got that in the end.
It's okay. It's okay. For anybody who might have just joined, shout out your Instagram again, and then we'll log off.
Oh, yeah. I can see. Oh, yeah, I can see that. But okay, I believe in you guys. But yeah, my Instagram is just at Eyeline Networking. So
Perfect.
and Ituno, yeah, Amanda Seals, that's the one. She was the mentor of this program called Now Media, NAL. I'll try to find them just in case you are one of the people who want to work them. They are amazing. It's in the States, but who knows? Maybe they'll get someone. I think now it's international. They're amazing people doing amazing things. So I'm gonna shout out to them because
Amazing.
we need more people doing good things.
100%. 100%. Well, thank you so much and enjoy your evening. And thank you to everyone who put a comment, a question, just said hi, and just spent their evening with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Abby. Bye, everyone.
Bye.